Your quality of your thoughts will determine the quality of your life. And the quality of your life is what you want to bring, because He is the way, the truth, and the life. I want to ask you a question, personal question, guys. When you are alone walking, or when you wake up in the middle of the night, that's when the real you loves to speak. What do you hear? When you wake up in the middle of the night, do you hear loneliness? Do you hear emptiness? Do you hear guilt? Do you hear shame? Do you deal with worry? Do you deal with frustration? Can't sleep? Do you deal with regret? Oh, is that the time that the Lord uses in your life, or the enemy uses in your life, to remind you of all your inadequacies and your fear? Is that a time okay, now let's look at something here. You wake up in the middle of the night, or when you're walking alone, what do you hear? Loneliness, or watch this one, or intimacy? How many of you have learned how to be alone without being lonely? So out of that place, when you're alone, this is not about loneliness. This is about being alone with God. And what is the Lord saying to my life today about His glory? Begin to write from that place. Begin to think from that place. When you are in that place walking alone, or you wake up in the middle of the night, if it's about it can be emptiness or shelter. It can be guilt, or it can be gentleness. Remember, we have choices to make here. Are we always going to bring the turmoil to God? We certainly have been given permission to bring Him the burdens of our heart, to give Him the cry of our heart, and these loneliness, emptiness, guilt, shame, those things. But we need to be those who are writing the language, the lyric, and the vocabulary for those that wake up in the middle of the night with emptiness or guilt or shame or pain. How is the grace and favor on your life and out of your thought life going to shift that not only for you but for them? Okay. Now, right. What about shame? If shame is what about life? What about in the middle of the night, it's regret? What if you think on these things? Not regret, but possibilities. Even the dark things of loss of your past are supposed to be creating a foundation for worship. Did you know that? You notice what Job did? Job, man, look what Job went through. Lost everything. And right in the middle of this encounter of losing family, losing children, losing everything that he had, what did he do? He fell down on the ground and began to worship God, because he worshiped in spite of the weariness that could have come. And he praised a whole lot louder than the pain that was coming to his life. And so he made a deliberate choice in that moment to raise worship back to the forefront, because God is worthy of his worship. Inadequacy, if that's your sense. What about healthy, holy self-worth? Fear. In that moment of your greater fear, what if it was just as simple as love? We know what love does to fear, don't we? What if your sorrow became a place for release, an all-consuming let it go? What about pain? When your thoughts of pain comes, what if you choose to give yourself to wholeness? Now, you know what we're talking about here is we're talking about, and this is not even necessarily about a prayer at this point. It's really about a agreement with the purity of your heart instead of the poisons that the enemy's trying to put in your heart to rob you.